Hello, it's your furry professor Kyra, and today we're going to talk about one of the most important things in the furry fandom, and that is, how the heck do you get a fursuit? Well, the options are limitless how you can acquire a fursuit, and I'm going to spend some time talking about today. So, I have talked very little on how I acquired my fursuits in another video, but let me go into a little bit of detail about where exactly I got my fursuits from. So the biggest place to find fursuits is a website known as the Dealer's Den. The Dealer's Den has tons of anything and everything there is about fursuits. I actually acquired my first fursuit on the Dealer's Den back in 2020, and I didn't pay as much as you would think for it. There is something I should mention before I really go into details with things, and that is, yes, fursuits are going to be expensive. They are considered a luxury item, but that doesn't mean you can't acquire one for a cheap cost. I will explain. That's what this video is for. So, on the Dealer's Den, you can find tons and tons and tons of suits. You can find brand new suits, you can find used suits, you can find partials, full partials, mini partials, full suits, all of those things on the Dealer's Den. But that is not the only place that you can find fursuits. It's a great place to start, but it's not the only place, especially if you're looking for something a little more cost effective. So, for me, that was where I had acquired two of my suits, actually. Now, a Kyra, I actually got in a trade. Now, that is a big thing in the furry fandom, where you can trade either another suit or you can trade for stuff like art to get fursuits. So, how I had acquired a Kyra was I had another suit that I had purchased. It was from the Dealer's Den that I just did not have a connection with. And sometimes when you're in this fandom and you have fursuits, you might lose connection to the suit. But the nice thing is somebody else might want that suit and they'll trade you their suit for it. And that's exactly what happened with a Kyra. So with a Kyra, I had posted up this other suit that I had on Facebook. There are tons and tons and tons of fursuit groups on Facebook, and there are some places that are specifically for trading. We'll get into more of the specifics of that in just a second. But I had posted up the other suit that I had, and I had this suit up for a very long time. Trades are not always very easy, and you're gonna want to make sure when you trade something, you're getting something you want in return. It's your suit. You can get anything you want in return. Just make sure it's something that you want. So, I had the suit up for a while, and I got to a point where I'm like, I don't think anyone wants this suit. Until somebody messaged me privately and was like, hey, I have this suit. I want to do an equal trade, which an equal trade is basically just, here's my suit, I take your suit, no additional money needed. And that's exactly what I did. I actually drove across the state to get a Kyra, and when I had gotten her, I fell in love. Now the thing is, when you trade for suits, you need to be very careful, because when I had acquired a Kyra, she was not in the greatest shape. I was unaware that there were some parts of her that were a little messed up. I didn't know the inside of her head wasn't lined. I have since lined her head, and I have fixed all the issues I've had with her. But when you are trading for a suit, you need to understand that you are probably not always going to be trading for a brand new suit. You may be trading for a used suit, and people need to kind of have the full disclosure of the condition of the suit. They should. Sometimes they won't, and it is a big risk with trading. But there are tons and tons and tons of different places that you can trade your suit on. I had just mentioned a Facebook group. So there are tons of Facebook groups that you can post up your suit and people can send you offers and everything like that. It's a great place to kind of get some ideas if you are wanting to trade your suit. Now, there are some pages that allow for you to trade artwork, physical items, like anything for a suit. So that is an option that you can have if you don't have another suit to trade. You can still trade other objects for a fursuit. You can also, which is the most expensive option, you can commission someone. You would commission, if you wanted a fursuit maker. Fursuit makers make these wonderful fuzzy characters that you see all over the place. These makers can range from a few $100s for a suit to thousands and thousands of dollars. Here's the best part. You don't have to commission one of those very, 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 very expensive makers if your budget doesn't allow for it. There are so many makers out there that offer suit commissions for custom characters for a very affordable cost. And the best part is, you don't have to get every single piece of the suit from one person. For me personally, I have gotten tons and tons and tons of parts made from so many different makers for my suits, because that's the cool freedom of it. You can find makers that are affordable to you. Maybe you can afford those couple $1,000 suits. That's awesome. But for someone who maybe can't, there are tons of makers that have very affordable costs for their fursuits, which I want to mention. So when I had gotten my fourth suit, the suit actually was up for sale previously through the original maker, and then someone bought it and then didn't wear it and they sold it. So you have trading for other suits, but you also can buy secondhand. Sometimes people don't want to trade for anything. They just want to get their money's worth for their suit. I have done that before. I had gotten one of my other suits, a version 2, hated how it turned out, so I ended up selling it. I just wanted straight money for it, just to make up for the cost for the actual suit. That is how I acquired my last suit that I had gotten. It was bought for $500, and it came with head, paws, and tail. I have since kind of Frankenstein pieced other parts together to create my fursona. So I basically kept the head of this particular suit, and I kind of looked all over the place, and I found a tail that I really wanted to fit with the fursona, and then I found paws that were the exact colors of the head. Sometimes you can get really lucky and do things like that, and it's very affordable. So, covering the bases here, you can go to the dealer's den, which is a big first step to get a kind of idea what you want to look for. You can trade, you can commission, or just buy secondhand. Now, I do kind of want to give a little bit of a warning. If you are buying secondhand, you are going to run into those risks, but you need to also, if you are commissioning, make sure you do your research. Make sure you look at other suits this individual has made, and make sure that you are getting your value in for what you're paying for. Understand that if you are paying thousands upon thousands upon thousands of dollars, you should be getting a very good suit, and make sure that is who you really want. But also understand that if you commission somebody that they're selling heads for maybe only a couple $100, you might not get that thousands upon $1,000 quality suit. You just kind of have to do your research. That's the biggest part about getting a fursuit, is just do your research. I promise you, you will probably get lucky and find the suit of your dreams, because this suit, I never thought in a million years I would find a suit I grew so attached to, but I did. I drove 5 hours to and from to get her, and I would never, ever, ever get rid of her. She is amazing, and you can get lucky just like I did. There are tons of options out there. And hey, if you just do a little research, you'll find something. Now, I should also warn you, If you just go on Google right now and type in fursuits for sale, you are going to get websites such as mascot.com and very sketchy looking websites. I don't recommend doing that. It might give you AliExpress. Hell, it might even give you Temu. You need to make sure you are careful on sites like this. I'm not saying you can't, but I promise you what they have advertised is not going to be what you get. If you're going to look for fursuits, I highly recommend looking first on official websites that other furries have bought suits from, like the Dealer's Den. Or find those Facebook pages. There are tons of them. I believe the one that is like really big on Facebook, I think it's called Club Furry for Furries, and there's all kinds of stuff posted on there. Art commissions, suit commissions, people selling suits, people wanting to trade suits. Like places like that are a huge first step. They very much kind of start putting you in the right direction. Those are where you should start. Don't just start typing away on Google looking for a fursuit, because I guarantee you're going to get something you don't actually want. Just forewarning. They might look great, but I guarantee it was a stolen photo of another fursuit that already exists, and you're not going to get that. You can find some very incredible fursuits. You just have to look for them. All the places I have mentioned are a really great start. And if you ever have questions, ask. I have bought and acquired fursuits from many, many different places. If you're unsure, please ask. Because getting one of these is not as crazy as they make it seem. I promise. You could have a fursuit in the next week just by doing a little bit of research. I promise.